class of 2019, and welcome to what I believe is the final night time of the school year. I am joined today by Mrs. McGurman, Counselor in Home Office K-25, and Mr. Patrick Brett, the Director of the College and Career Center. As we were leaving the office this morning, Mrs. McGlynn informed us that we are now at 20 days remaining in the school year. And that includes 4 half days for final exams and the last day of school. So we are very much in the home stretch of the school year. As the counselors and administrators in K-25 were recently talking, we were reflecting that during the course selection process, as all students met with their counselors, the overwhelming majority of students had indicated that their post-high school plans included some sort of college, whether that be a 4-year program, a 2-year program, or a specialized program. In fact, historically, over 90% of our students go on to some sort of advanced schooling. Now, we realize that with over 1,000 students in the current junior class, everyone is at different stages along the college exploration spectrum. Some students are just starting the process of exploring what schools might be a good fit and prepare them for their anticipated career. Others are a little further along. Maybe they've started visits or they've started some research. And still others are further along and maybe they're even ready to start narrowing down the list. But given that over 90% of our students are going on to some sort of schooling, and that process will require an application process of some sort, we, during nighttime today, wanted to start to share some information about what the college application process will look like and some things that you can be doing now, throughout the summer, and as we return to school in the fall to make the transition to senior year go a lot smoother. So with that, I'm going to turn things over to Mrs. McGurman.
Hello, everybody. You're seeing this slide on the screen of really 3 things that we narrowed down what you need to take care of before you walk out of the doors here at North Penn in June for your final time as a junior. The first thing is to start or build your resume on Naviance. That's really important. Probably most of you at this point have at least started it. That resume should include all your awards, any kind of accomplishments, anything in or outside of school that you would like us as counselors to highlight on a recommendation letter. So if you go onto Naviance, it's very, very simple to do, and they kind of walk you through how to build that resume. The second thing is you were handed a copy of what we call a blue senior survey form today in nighttime. This should have been handed out to all seniors, and this form is simply to help us counselors to get to know you better and to be able to write a more meaningful letter of recommendation. We as counselors, the 3 of us in K-25, will not write a letter of recommendation until you've turned us the blue form, the blue senior survey form, and either handed us a resume or completed your resume in Naviance. So please, we're asking if you can hand us that blue form before you leave school this year. Of course, if you do something meaningful and you want us to highlight something, you can come back and talk to us in the fall and we can add to that. And then the third thing is requesting or asking your teachers for letters of recommendation. My suggestion is always to have a face-to-face conversation with your teacher first. Pick a 10th or 11th grade teacher, along with, it could be somebody, a religious leader or a coach or a supervisor at a job. Pick 2 people that you're going to use for your letters of recommendation. Have a face-to-face conversation this year. Hand them a copy of your resume or mention to them that your resume is completed in Naviance. And then when you go to invite them next year through Naviance, you won't have to track them down throughout the building. So with that, three simple things that you need to do. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Brett, things you should be thinking about this summer.
How you doing, 11th grade? This is Mr. Brett here. Some of you may know, or most of you know, either Mrs. McGurman or Mr. Daly based on who has you as a student on their caseload. Most of you don't know who I am or hopefully haven't seen my face too often rather than just on the television. I'm the director of the College and Career Center. My office is located in K31, and I am here typically every day through the school day, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., and you are more than welcome to come down and visit me at any time as long as you're not in class. What I want to talk about today is what you need to do over the summer. There's a slide up that explains what you need to be doing over the summer. You should be continuing to research schools. At this point in time, your school list can be as broad as you want it to be. You can have 20 schools on that list. By the time you come back in August, that list should be narrowed down to between 5 and 7 schools. If you have 10 schools, no big deal, but mostly we'd like to see it at 5 to 7 schools. And the reason why we say that is because there is a lot of work that goes into the college application process. And also, it does get expensive. Most college applications range from $35 to $75, plus the fee to send your SAT or ACT scores, which is anywhere from $12 to $16, respectively. So the first thing is to narrow down that list. Go visit schools. Spend some time on the campus. Get to know what the school's going to be like. Talk to someone on the campus. If you get a chance to go into the Office of Admission, go in and let them know that you were there. Fill out a card that says that you were there. Speak to someone and get their business card. Follow it up with an email. Continue to keep that line of communication open. This way, when you apply, they remember your face and your name and give you the benefit of the doubt over other students, hopefully. The second thing I want to talk about is standardized tests. To go to a 4-year school or most 2-year schools, you're going to need the SATs or the ACTs. The last chance for them to be done for senior year are up on the board, August 25th for the SATs. They will not be offered here at North Penn High School. We will offer the October and November SATs, but not the August SATs. Some local schools will offer them. The ACTs in July and also October, again, not offered at North Penn High School, but again, local schools do offer them. So make sure that you follow up and finish your standardized testing needed for college application process before the November timeline. And the reason why I say that is because the general rule of advice here at North Penn is that we'd like to see you have everything out before Thanksgiving break. And if you have an earlier deadline, you must hit that earlier deadline, but make sure that you have everything out before Thanksgiving, because we don't want you guys going into the Thanksgiving lull that then follows up to winter break and forget something that's due over winter break. The last thing I want to talk about is our college boot camp. This is our 3rd year running it. We host the boot camp from August 13th through the 16th, and it's a application starter. We like to get our students in, get more acclimated with the senior year Naviance goals. Starting applications, whether you are using Common Application or an application on a school's website. And we will also have a room for college essays. Mr. Feeney, who is a current sophomore counselor, was an English teacher for 14 years, and he has a great resource to have on our staff to help with the college essay with what the college is looking for and also the grammatical piece. So the 3 things that I spoke about were visiting schools, narrowing your list, making sure you hit your standardized tests, and also the college boot camp. Make sure that you guys can attend that. If you cannot, we completely understand. You will get an email about this by the end of the month, both to students and parents. There is no sign up needed. Just show up on the morning of the 13th following directions that will be in the email at the end of the month. I'm going to turn it over now to Mr. Daly.
Thank you, Mr. Brett. I'm going to highlight a few things that are going to be happening in the fall. And it may seem like we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but when you return to school in late summer, things are going to happen pretty fast and furious, and we want to get a few dates and things on your radar. As Mr. Brett had indicated, hopefully when you return from summer break, you have whittled down that longer college list to a more manageable number, somewhere in the neighborhood of probably a half a dozen schools. And you and your parents will be then ready to take the next step in the college process, which is going to actually be submitting the applications. So on September 11th, here at the high school in the evening in the auditorium, we invite you and your parents to college application night. So that is where the counseling staff from K-25, along with Mr. Brett, the transcript secretary, Mrs. Borchers, will be there to walk you through the college application process from start to finish. So if you have your phone handy, you might want to plug that date in. September 11th in the evening is college application night for students and parents. An important date for everyone to know is September 17th. September 17th will be the first day that North Penn High School will start to send out transcripts and applications to the colleges to which you have applied. And this is a little bit different from years past, and it may even contradict some of the information that you'll receive from schools. For example, the common application opens July 1st. I think Pitt and Penn State open August 1st. And a lot of times as students are exploring colleges over the summer, they're strongly encouraged to get their transcripts and applications in as soon as possible. The challenge is we aren't quite set up the same way the colleges are. First, we don't return to school until late August or early September. And secondly, our transcripts are not finalized until about September 13th. So the first day that we are going to be able to send out transcripts and your applications will be Monday, September 17th. So even if you've submitted things over the summer, nothing will be sent out until that date. In talking with a number of colleges, and in particular Mr. Brett and the conversations he has had with colleges, this does not negatively impact your chances of admission, and it will not negatively impact any opportunities for financial aid. Everyone will be in good shape, and we will be able to manage all the transcripts and applications starting September 17th. The next point is it's very important that you allow the transcript office and the counselors 3 weeks to process your request to send transcripts. We are sending an incredibly high volume of transcripts out to the schools, and given the importance of these mailings or sending things through Naviance, we don't want to misplace anything. So we request 3 weeks to allow the processing of transcripts. So that's basically 15 school days from the time you request it till the time that we will send it out. And there will be some specific dates that we will be sharing with you that will indicate if your application deadline is this day, you need to have your request into the transcript office by this day. And that will all be shared with you at the boot camp as well as college application night. The last date I want to share with you is October 1st, and that is where the FAFSA application will open. FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid, and that is basically what initiates any sort of financial aid that you'll be qualifying for colleges. So that's maybe getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but we want to have that date on your radar. So again, for you and your parents to understand that October 1 of 2018 is the day that the FAFSA application process will be available to you. So I know we shared a lot of information and some of you may not quite be ready for it yet. But again, things are going to happen pretty fast and furious when we come back for senior year. So we wanted to get this information out to you, the students, today. We will also be sharing this information with your parents in the very near future. If you do have questions, I would encourage you to either stop down at the College and Career Center and talk with Mr. Brett, or to send him an email, or to reach out to your respective counselor with your specific questions. So I thank you for your time. K-25 and the College and Career Center wish you a very relaxing and restful summer, and we look forward to getting the college application process rolling when we return with the College Boot Camp in August. Have a great summer.